Hi folks, how are you doing? Yesterday we had a great chess festival started in Bilbao in northern Spain. We have the European Team Club Championship with tons of super GMs playing, and we also have what is still called the Grand Slam Masters, although there is no Grand Slam anymore. I mean, no more MTEL tournament, no more Linares, but they still get four super players to get playing a little tournament there every year. This time is the turn of former world champions Ponomariov, Anand, Levon Aronian, and Vallejo, the local hero. And in the first round, we're gonna see one of the games. Vallejo, the Spanish champion, strong player on his own right, was playing with white pieces against Levon Aronian, current number 3 in the world, the Armenian Super GM. Let's see what happened. Paco went with 1d4, and we get a Nimzo Indian defense after e6, knight c3, and bishop to b4. Knight f3 was played this time, and here, well, of course, black has a wide range of choice, lots of moves here, d5, c5, castling. I guess almost any move is good here, but b6 is very normal in Nimzo Indians, trying to put the bishop on the big diagonal. Now bishop g5 was played by Vallejo. h6, the bishop goes back, and here we see a rather usual idea, somehow aggressive in some Nimzo Indians. Not that unusual to play h6 g5 and put the knight on e4, attacking c3, threatening of course the pawn there, and attacking g3 as well. Okay, the obvious drawback is that black has overcommitted his kingside pawn structure, and castling kingside is not an option right now, of course. So it's an aggressive approach, but playable, I guess. Here normally white goes queen c2 because you later want to put probably the bishop on d3 to defend c3. You go normally queen c2, but Vallejo chose to go queen to d3, attacking the knight, defending his own knight, and also the queen could be dangerous here. It could go through the third rank to attack the somehow weakened black king. So interesting choice here, and after f5 we get a really original and nice looking position. I mean, seems dangerous for both. Could be easily wrong. Could go easily wrong for both players, but it's a very original, nice position. And to make it even more interesting, Vallejo plays here h4. I guess trying to mess it up using the pin here on the h file, really getting a very nice position here. Now bishop takes, pawn takes was played, and now black can take on g3, making white recapture with the f pawn, having this really weird pawn structure on the king side. But on the other hand, his own black's king side, the king, the rook, don't look the best pieces in the world. So this is a complicated position, really complicated stuff. The engines were favoring slightly black here, but I think this could go easily wrong for both players if somebody is not careful enough. So this is really interesting. g4, otherwise white is threatening to take on g5 and win a pawn. The knight goes to d2. Not a great coordination on white side, but okay, black doesn't have anything special either. And after d5 we get really strange position, and Vallejo makes it even wilder with e4, trying to open up desperately lines for his queen and trying to take advantage of this king, which really could be in great danger if this pawn structure disappears. D takes, knight takes was played. White is sacrificing a piece, but be sure not to take it here, because if black was to take on e4, this of course didn't happen. Levon didn't buy this. Queen takes is attacking the bishop, the rook on a8, and also the g6 square attacking the king and defending the rook may be even worse, because after here queen to g6 check, king, I don't know, to f8, And bishop to d3. This seems like a king's gambit working perfectly well for white. White is going even to castle, checkmate black in a couple of moves it seems. So this was very, very dangerous. Instead, after knight e4, looking good move, bishop to b7. They open a piece controlling this diagonal so that the knight must go back to d2. Aronian keeps developing, knight to d7, queen to e3. There's an obvious weakness with the pawn on e6, backward pawn, so it makes lots of sense to put the queen on the open file and attack it. Queen f6. Now bishop to d3. White is sacrificing a pawn, the g2 pawn, in order to get his rook into the game in an original way. Now rook h2 attacks the bishop, forces it back to b7 for instance. And now the rook goes to e2, open file, more control on the e file, attacking e6 even more. Okay, white is attacking twice this pawn. The engineer is suggesting to try to defend the pawn with knight to f8, but this is cutting communication between rooks, say after castles, and black is, not, he has his upper pawn, but not much initiative, or white has definitely compensation because black is passive. So the knight must stand there, the queen must stand there, the rooks are not connected, so black is not aiming at anything special here, even a pawn up. So that's why after rook e2, Aronian just gave up the pawn back. He just castles long and, well, wants to have active pieces. The queens were exchanged here on e6, and now knight c5 tactics favoring here black. Pawn cannot take, the bishop is hanging on d3, and white pawn structure would be horrendous. So the rook goes back to defend d3. Now knight takes, rook must take, and f4. Of course, black would love to have a connected passed pawn on f3. So white must take, rook df8, king f2. Here it is an interesting intermediate move, very precise and fine move by Aronian. G3 check, very correct. So that after rook takes g3, he takes now on f4 with check. Let's try to see the difference between this line and taking on f4 with check right away after takes. White has the possibility to go to g3 with the king, it seems, attacking both. And if rook h f8, rook e1, and h5, well, black has a protected passed pawn, but the rook is on time to go to e7 and try to attack h5 from behind, I think. So little differences, little details that make g3 check here a precise move, it seems. After rook takes f4 check. Now the king cannot go to g3. It goes to e3, and rook takes on h4. Rook a g1. Okay, black's pawn structure much better than white's. He has a bishop, but white has enough compensation counterplay, I think, not to be in any danger here. Rook e8 was checked. King d3, bishop to c6. After knight f3, the bishop, well, now he goes bishop e4 check, king d2, and the minor pieces are exchanged. Rook's endgame, in which black is better. He has a passed pawn on the h file, his pawn structure is better. White king is slightly more unsafe, but even if Aronian takes a2, rook g7, white rooks are active enough to allow white not to being in any danger of losing. I think Paco has enough counter chances. King b8, rook to h7. The h pawn is kind of dead. Rook to e2. Now c5, making some room for the king. b5 was played here. It was interesting, this line. If b takes c5, rook f8 check could be played, king b7, and now both rooks to the 7th rank, and c7, no way to defend it, and is going to fall with a check. So white is really getting compensation for the material. But take a look at this. The difference between this line and now playing rook f8 is that after king b7, rook f to f7 is no longer possible, because guess what? This is checkmate. So there is this little difference of move order after c5, b5, rook e3, not allowing, giving white the e4 square in case of this check. Little details. Rook takes, king takes what played, but after rook a3, king to d2. This was about to be a draw. B takes, king up, c6. White took on h6, and now after some checks, there is no way black king is escaping checks. So it was very logical to sign the score sheets here and agree to a draw, as they did Paco Vallejo against Levon Aronian in the first round of this Grand Slam Masters in Bilbao. Thanks for watching.